I'm going to read Alice in Wonderland, chapter 6, Pig and... what is it? Pig and Peppa. For a minute, old Duchess stood looking at the house and wondering what's next. And when suddenly a footman and orderly came running out of the wood, she considered him to be a footman, because he was in livery. Otherwise, judging by his face only, she would have called him a fish, and rapped loudly at the doors with his knuckles. It was opened by another footman in livery, with a round face and large eyes like a frog, and both footmen, Alice noticed, had powdered hair that curled all over their heads. She felt very curious to know what it was all about, and crept a little way out of the wood to listen. The fisherman began by producing from under his arm a great letters, nearly as large as himself. And this he handed over to the others, saying in a solemn tone for the Duchess, an invitation from the Queen to play croquet. The footman repeated in the same solemn tone, only changing the order of the words a little. From the Queen, an invitation for the Duchess to play croquet. Then they both bowed low, and their curls got entangled together. Alice laughed so much at this that she had to run back into the wood for fear of their hearing her. And when she next peeped out, the fisherman was gone, and the other was sitting on the ground just near the door, staring stupidly up in the sky. Alice went timidly up to the door and knocked. There was no sort of use in knocking and settled the footman, and that for two reasons. First, that because I'm on the same side of the doors as you are. Second is because you're making such a noise inside, so no one could possibly hear you. And suddenly there was a most extraordinary noise going on within, a constant howling and a sneezing, and every now and then a great crash, as if this share of castle had been broken to pieces. "Really, then," said Alice, "how am I to get in?" "There might be some sense in yours knocking," the footman went on, without attending to her. "If we had the doors between us, for instance, if you were inside, you might knock, and I could let you out." You know, that he was looking up into the skies all the time and was speaking, and this Alice and thought decided at least uncivil. But perhaps he can't help it. And she said to herself that his eyes are so very near that probably said, "But at any rate, it's mine answer question. How am I to get in?" She repeated aloud. "I shall sit here," the footman remarked, "till tomorrow." At this moment, the door of the house opened, and a large plate came skimming out, straight at the footman's head. It just grazed his nose, and rubbed to pieces against one of the trees behind him. "Oh, next day, maybe," the footman continued in the same tones, exactly as if nothing had happened. "Am I to get in?" asked Alice again in a louder tone. "Are you to get in at Orson?" said the footman. "That's the first question." You know, it was an adopt only, and Alice did not like to be told so seriously. Doubtful, she muttered to herself, the ways all the creatures argue is enough to drive one crazy. This footman seemed to think this a good opportunity for repeating. It's a remarkable variations, and I shall sit here. I sat one and up for days and days. "But what am I to do?" said Alice. "Nothing like," said the footman, and began whistling. "Oh, there's no use in talking to him," said Alice, and that's surely he's perfectly idiotic. And she opened the door and went in. The door led right into a large kitchen, which was full of small from one end to the other. The Duchess was sitting on a three-legged stool in the middle, nothing above. The cook was leaning over the fire and stirring a large cauldron which seemed to be full of soup. "There is certainly too much pepper in that soup," Alice said to herself, as well as she could for sneezing. There was certainly too much of it in the air. Even the Duchess sneezed occasionally, as for the baby, it was sneezing and howling alternately without a moment's pause. The only things in the kitchen that did not sneeze were the cook, and a large cat which was sitting on the hearth and winced from ear to ear. "Please would you tell me," said Alice, a little timidly, for she was not quite sure whether it was good manners for her to speak first, "why your cat grins like that?" "It's a Cheshire cat," said the Duchess, "and that's why. P." She said the last word with such sudden violence that Alice quite jumped. She saw in another moment that it was addressed to the baby and not her, so she took courage and went on again. "I didn't know that cats always grin. In fact, I didn't know that cats could grin." "They all can," said the Duchess, "and most of them do, and I don't know stuff, and that appears not satisfied very politely. The feeling's quite pleased to have got into a conversation. You are not so much," said the Duchess, "and that's the fact." Alice did not at all like the tone of this remark, and thought it would be as well to introduce some other subject of conversation. While he was trying to fix on, the cook took the cauldron of soup and off the fire, and at once set to work to throwing everything within her reaches. "Come on in." Yep, at the Duchess and the baby. The fire. Iron came first, then followed her. Shower of saucepans and plated dishes the Duchess took noticed of them even when they hit her, and the baby was howling so much that it was quite impossible to say whether it blows her or not. Okay then.